Are we live? Okay, I always have to
Gosh,
check.
we're live. Oh, hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the
Hello.
Death of VIVEK OJI live show for the Vintage Books and Wine Book Club. So, Tiana's not here yet, so we're gonna have to just do some simple discussion with the people or among ourselves while we wait for her. So, how is everyone's day so far?
Please let us know. Light up the chat.
Oh wait, we should announce it on the Discord.
Oh,
Yeah,
We didn't
this is
even-
good. This is good. This is us stalling. This is us working together as a team.
This is us doing the announcements first because we're already live. So, oh my god, I can't believe she's late.
it's okay. You know,
I know.
sometimes in life we are late.
It's great.
So I just got my second vaccine shot today.
Oh,
so
she's here.
Yay me. Oh, hey Tia.
Yay!
She made it.
Hello.
How's it going? I'm so sorry I'm late.
We were so ready to talk about Shadow and Bone.
Wrong book club. Wrong book club.
Wrong book club got you.
Oh, she really
Tiana, let's
popped in.
go.
Oh, yeah. I'm drinking water because I don't want to be hungover tomorrow because I'm supposed to feel like shit already. Again, this is the second month in a row where I'm not able to drink and I feel bad. Next month, I'll be sloshed. That's a problem.
I'm drinking water too because I have a quiz tomorrow and I don't want to be.
Look at us. We're turning into like old ladies.
I know. I can't.
I've been an old lady.
It's crazy. Look at Tiana struggling.
See, you're drinking
okay?
for all of us right now.
Oh, lovely. I got it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is good. This is good.
Motherfucker.
Oh,
Oh my god.
And
Content.
I believe in you.
I got half of an hour-long drive, okay?
Oh my, where were you driving from?
I coached lacrosse. We won 13-1.
Nice.
Congratulations.
This one lady gave me the dirty look, and I was like, I didn't do anything to you. I'm just beating your team. It's literally, it wants to come out.
T, I'm loving this tradition of you waiting until literally the last day to read.
we gotta keep going, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's a good place to start because I think most of us waited until like 2 days ago to finish
Yeah.
this book.
I read it last week, like late last week, just because I had a bunch of other things that I had to read. But
That's fair.
T, I just giving you fair warning, I don't think you'll be able to finish The Wolf of Oren-Yaro in a day.
You want to bet? Do you want to bet?
I don't want to bet.
Oh my god, she's like, I already finished Legendborn in a day. I could do it.
But you know, I was really surprised because I thought I would be able to like finish this in a day or just like sit down and read it all the way through. But I found myself having to really take some time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was short, but and it was like a really easy pace. Like I think I finished it really fast, like just reading time for me. I finished it in like 3 hours, but I
Yeah.
spent it over a couple days.
Okay. So do we want to start getting into non-spoilery discussion?
Non-spoilery.
Okay, so we can start with Matthew, Blake, and then Tiana. Okay, so what did you guys rate this?
Wait, start with you, Ace.
Wait, oh me? Oh, you're right. Okay. Well,
It's your book.
I rated this a 5 out of 5, just because even though there was a lot of things that was going on that I personally do not want to see happen in real life, I thought the way that it was written and how it's so uncomfortable to be reading it, it's actually peering into someone's life, and I thought that was such a good way to write this type of book, especially with the themes of it. So yeah, it's a 5 out of 5 for me.
I gave it a 3 stars with the willingness to be convinced it could be a 4-star. I feel like after this discussion, after we break it down, after we talk, my opinions will be there. I found this book to be incredibly academically engaging for me. I found myself wanting to pick it apart and piece apart the language, talk about the themes. but the emotional resonance didn't quite connect. Part of me worries that it's because I like rushed to read it, but I, you know, I think that like right now it's very like a strong, worth my time, I'm so glad I read it book. It just hasn't given me like those warm tinglies in the way that I wish I would.
Okay, Blake. Okay,
Um,
I'm ready.
I'm sorry, I just did not like this book. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Um, and like the 2 stars was mostly for the writing because I thought the writing was the best part about this. Like Akwe Emezi, like they are such a good writer, and so I was really really visualize a lot of like the scenes and things that were going on, and there were some really like good uses of language. I just like particularly did not like the story, and I was not engaged with it. Kind of like what Matthew said, like I wasn't really emotionally connected to this as much as I wanted to be, mostly because, I mean, the fact that Vivek OJI is dead is not a spoiler. That's the title of the book.
Yeah.
But pretty much all the perspectives that we get of Vivek are not from his perspective. We do get like a little bit like pieces of his life, like from his point of view, like just kind of like here and there as like reflections. But those are like few and far between. And most of like what we learn about him/them is from other people's points of view. And I was like more interested in like learning more about their life and like their struggles from like their perspective. And I don't know, like that just caused me to not really be engaged. And there were some like huge red flags that caused me to like literally want to DNF this book. So we'll talk about it in the spoiler section.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so excited to talk about this in the spoiler section because I have so many opinions about what everything that you just said. But Tiana, you go.
I gave it a 3 stars. Same with Blake when he said he was very disengaged with the story. I got home from Orange Theory like 8:30 this morning or 9:30 this morning, and I started reading the book, and I was like, wait, my head can't grasp things. I'm not attaching myself to one of these characters. And I think that is in part due to the shortness of the book. And I think Emezi is a very strong writer. I just don't think that they were given the length to expound upon and create bonds that the reader can attach themselves to as typically as they can. I thought it was very interesting how Emezi was able to use the different POVs. It was confusing at first because I didn't read an audiobook, but I was like, wait, let me get the book and like, point reference to just like grasp it. But yeah, solid 3 stars for me. I'm excited to read their book Pet because, I saw an interview about how it describes monsters and things like that.
Pet is so lovely.
So,
it's so good.
Oh, I didn't know they wrote Pet.
Yeah,
I know nothing about that.
I think
it's a middle grade novel, very strong in writing, very very similar to this. It's a lot more linear. It's a lot more. It's middle grade. Like it's a lot easier to follow. It's a lot easier to, but like conceptually, just as bonkers and super fun.
So, do you guys think your opinion would have changed if the book was longer and we got more perspective from Vivek?
Yeah.
I don't know if this gets into spoilery territory. I don't think it does. Given the concepts presented in the book, given the theming of the book, and given some of the plot, I don't think there is a single page or character perspective that does not include Vivek as a character.
Yeah.
Vivek is always omnipresent in all of these people's behaviors, reactions, associations, concerns, distresses, etc. I also really liked the tool of only getting snippets of Vivek's life because Vivek himself was a very private person.
Yeah.
And his sexuality was very private. His gender was very private, and he didn't really want to talk about it to people. So not being let into that was very parallel in the writing structure. And I liked that it was parallel to the character in the way that it was presented. So I think that that element did not bother me. I do think that this book would have benefited, at least from my personal experience, just with more volume. I wanted more, exploration. I wanted to go deeper. I would have liked another 100 pages, if only just to read the writing some more. But the lacking perspective was not a problem for me.
Okay, Blake.
I don't think it would have changed my opinion. Like, I like this is, I'm going to talk about this more in the spoiler section, but I think just the story, like, as a whole, just felt really flat to me. And I think that's because I have read so many like queer tragedies that I'm kind of sick of it, honestly. And to me, it's like, this book, I think, does have new things to say and like to add to that conversation. So it's like worth it, I think. But at the same time, I just I don't know if I personally don't want more stories like that. Or like, I think we can move beyond that. Like, I would have loved to see, I don't know, like a character like Vivek in like a different type of story, and like seen more explorations of that. Sorry, I'm not very eloquent or anything like that, but I don't know.
You're perfectly eloquent. You're explaining yourself very well.
I was like very just, I don't know, because I'm a very emotional reader, and like once I get attached to the characters and like I can go on their emotional journey with them, and like because of the way that this book was structured, I just was really not emotionally engaged. And like that sucks, because I really wanted to, because like that's what I kept hearing about this book, is that it was so emotional, that it was like really heartbreaking, it was sad, it was character driven, and I felt like a sense of detachment, like almost in the way that like those books that like you were forced to read in high school and like overanalyze, like those are very different, but in the same way as in like the characters are more kind of tools for theme rather than like emotionally engaging. And that's how I felt about this book. Like I felt like we're like Matthew, like I could sit down and like vivisect this book and like dissect the language and the themes, because there were like lots of things that I did pull out or like did enjoy like standing on their own, but I think in context of the whole narrative, it just did not work for me.
Okay, so I think we're starting to get into more spoilery discussion. So if you haven't finished the book, I suggest that people start leaving. Unless you don't mind getting spoiled, then stay. But here's one comment. If you guys want to comment on this.
I like this comment, and I very much agree with it.
Yeah.
I don't view this book as a tragedy. I found it to be very buoyant and very hopeful. Like, we know that Vivek OJI is dead, and yes, that is sad because grief is sad. But this book is ultimately about like reincarnation. It's about discovery and self-acceptance. It's about like these much lighter topics. I also felt like because we were constantly jumping around in perspective, that we didn't have to sit and wallow too long in one place. So I think its pacing kind of brought it up a little bit. So like there are definitely tragic elements. I'm not going to pretend like this isn't like emotionally devastating in some sections, but I didn't find it to be as I've seen some Goodreads reviews compare it to like A Little Life, and I'm like, honey, no, like this is not torture porn. This is something else. This is something that is, exploring different facets of queer life, unlike a tragedy that is that book. So I do completely appreciate, sometimes you just don't want to, as a queer person, you don't want to read stories like this. Fully agree with that.
Yeah.
But I personally didn't find it as I didn't find it as bogged down in the tragedy as I kind of had expected to.
Yeah.
I have lots of feelings.
Sorry, well, I'm just trying to think, well, what was the question? Yeah, I mean, there was definitely queer joy. But the queer joy to me, it was the same way as in, the forbidden romance thing. Like
we're in spoilers. We're in spoilers, everyone.
Yeah, we're in spoilers.
Yes.
Well, because like the whole center of the joy and the hope and the love in this novel is an incestuous relationship, and I fucking hated it so much. Like,
I agree.
Not tell you how much in my bones I despise that. Mostly just because like it, like, you know, it's one thing to have like, you know, forbidden romances or like terrible things in your book, but then you like comment on them, or like they're in a way where like you as the reader are not supposed to be okay with it. That's why I didn't like the fucking Mortal Instruments trilogy, is because for most of that trilogy, you are led to believe that they're fucking each other and they're a brother and sister and that it's okay. And then, oh, plot twist, they're not. Like, and then everything's fine, even though you were led to believe that they were like blood related. So it is playing with that. And then also like with Call Me By Your Name, you know, you have an older man and like a 17-year-old kid, and then it's a beautiful, amazing relationship, and you're supposed to overlook the fact that this is fucking weird and creepy because the love is so pure and so beautiful. And in the same way, in this book, it's just like very overlooked the fact that they are blood related. They are like, they grow up together essentially as brothers, and then like, and it's supposed to be this beautiful relationship that's like, you know, ends in tragedy when Osita kills Vivek. It's just, I didn't care.
Blake just went off. He just went off.
No, I think it's
once they got together, I did not give a fuck. Like,
I appreciate that, and I agree. Like, obviously, like incest, icky, not fun to read about. I do think that the structuring of this relationship has some outside of book context to the way that Akweki Emezi views reincarnation and or their spirituality, with regard to whether or not you are a blood relative or part of an ancestry in a family. So while, like, yes, on its surface, like, ew, gross, don't like it, I do have a certain amount of respect for its portrayal, because it dives deeper into a type of spirituality and culture that is something that I am so unfamiliar with, I don't want to comment on and mess up. But, you know, the Vivek being not necessarily in his own bloodline or ancestry is an element that is part of it. I don't think it's like the best thing.
But then also, he's the reincarnation of his grandma. So if he's not like having an incestuous relationship with his cousin, he's having an incestuous spiritual relationship with his grandma. Like,
yeah, I mean, Tiana, I feel like
Tiana, are you okay?
I'm listening because
she's just watching everything unfold while the chaos happens. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna just sit back, sip some wine while you guys do this.
I'm listening. I'm being an active listener. I just can't form opinions on queer or not like queer tragedy.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening and being a participant in this conversation.
You are welcome in this space to talk about queer tragedy and queer culture if you wish.
I do think that. I do think that obviously I truly abhor. It is foul how disgusting Call Me By Your Name is. I genuinely hate that book. I need the queer community to just have an actual, like, yes, there are some times you need to go through some hell to have some tranquility and like accept who you are, but like, do we have to have that storyline played out again and again? That's my question. I, as a Black woman, have had to go through being called the N-word in 3rd grade to understand that what that word actually means in its context, and not feeling so good. I'm not trying to compare queerness to Blackness in any context. I'm just saying that to have acceptance and stability in who you are, sometimes you have to go through pain, but we can have some queer joy. We can have like, well, why do we have to go through this shit to just like have representation? And that's all.
my response is, why do we hold queer novels to a standard unlike other books in that they have to be a certain way? No, I'm not like calling you out here. Like, that's not me like clapping back. But like, you know, I do think that there is a time, space, and, you know, necessity for queer joy and for books about positive portrayals of queer relationships, in the same way that I know so many people have found themselves by reading Call Me By Your Name. So many people will find themselves by reading a book like this.
Right.
Because to be queer is not safe depending on what part of the world you're in. Right. It is full of fraught relationships. It is full of psychological burden in the way that, you know, many people experience the world. So to have a story like this, I don't think negates the need for queer joy.
Right.
Simultaneously, it should not be required of this book to have queer joy.
Right.
Oh, like, I mean, I agree. Like, it's not that like I fault this book for like having queer pain, because like, you know, I've dealt with queer pain. Like, I know what that's like. I don't think it like achieved what I thought it was going for in that way, if that makes sense. It's like, it's not that like the queer pain wasn't there, because it was. It just like the ending to me felt so anticlimactic. Like I kept waiting for like something to happen,
Right.
and then it just kind of ended. And so it almost didn't feel like there wasn't a point to it.
I think the comment from She Was in the Shelves was really interesting about the not needing a romantic through line, like the idea that this book's through line, this book's ending, doesn't necessarily have to be tied to like a romantic happy ending, or like, you know, because we end at the beginning. We end with Vivek being dead, and then what is the story in between? What unfolds? What happens?
I mean, I'm talking more about. Sorry, Ace, I know you haven't talked. I want to hear from you.
I want to. No, it's okay. I just want to hear what you guys think, because we have very different opinions. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's for me, like the whole, you know, this novel has different sections, like really. So
Tiana,
know what's going on.
You can't just downing a whole bottle on stream. My God.
And then we have, you know, Osita like kind of discovering out who Vivek is, and that whole section. And then towards the end, you have the mother trying to find out what happened to Vivek and why they died. And that whole section, I think, was the most compelling to me, because I was like, you know, because Osita and the other girls, they were obviously hiding something. And so then there was this element of mystery, and I was really intrigued, and I was like, what's going to happen? Like, you know, what could have, like, I was hoping for, like, I don't know, something really interesting to happen. And then Osita just kind of like accidentally kills Vivek. And I was like, okay. And I don't know. I just wanted more, I guess.
I think the way that he died, I liked it better than him just being killed by a mob.
No, like I agree. But it was like, I thought it was like, because honestly, once Osita like started like suggesting that they were hiding things, I was like, oh, like he was the one who killed Vivek. But then I was like, I felt like I had two options in my head the whole time, and I wanted there to be like a surprise like third option that like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming.
Oh, true.
But like that wasn't this type of book. But because the last half was kind of structured almost like a mystery, I like, you know what I mean?
No, I think that makes perfect sense. I think I in many ways agree, because I think that Akwaeke Emezi does write a really good thriller through part of this book. Like, it is very much textured like a thriller. And so we expect this to like lead to like some sort of climactic plot twist, a la what we expect when we think of the word thriller. And we don't get that. We get everything else that I think entails in a thriller. We get a lot of suspense. We get a lot of mystery. I feel like the whole book is just poised the entire time. But that one kind of like pivotal moment is taken away from us. I'm not personally sure what like to make of it, but like you, I am similarly dissatisfied.
To me, oh God, I just lost my trail of thought. To me, I didn't mind that the ending was very anticlimactic, or even just like the whole reveal of it all, because throughout the book, we've all said, we don't really see from Vivek's perspective, only from others, and that a lot of them don't really know them. Like, and so at the end, we're revealed, like it's a reveal or whatever, but it's just that's just it. Like, people keep like talking about him, like what's going on with him, like there's something wrong with him, but there wasn't. And I thought that was such a good reveal, that he was just living his life, and people kept making gossip about it. So yeah, to me, like, the whole fact that he just lived and that's just the way he died, which is like not too much of a tragedy, I would say, was a lot more meaningful than having such a big like, oh, he died because this happened and this happened kind of way.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I really like. There were some elements of the ending that I was really touched by. Like, I thought, when she started going by Nemdi, and then like after Osita like showed his mom the photos of her like wearing dresses and like dancing, that the mom was so touched, and she like went and like changed her name on the grave. Like, I loved that. That was like really touching to me, and I really like the nuance with the mother. I thought like Kavita, I think her name is. So like Kavita's character, the whole book, I think was the most compelling to me aside from Vivek. But like Vivek / Nemdi, like they almost kind of felt like like this nebulous kind of idea of a person for most of it, up in like kind of towards the end, just because like our viewpoint characters don't really know what to make of like them. So like and then also because we switched perspectives so often and there were so many characters kind of introduced, like you were constantly like finding out new people, and then there was like that random POV with Ebenezer in the market that like didn't really come back at all. Like there's just all these kind of like things that I think distracted from like my like I really wanted to enjoy just Vivek as a character. But so I think the character that stood out to me the most just in the text itself was Kavita. I really loved her character arc. I think she had the best character arc in the book, honestly.
Yeah. Tiana, did you want to say something?
Yeah, Shebas and Shelves, I believe, they were going on saying, I don't know how to say this.
Oh. Is it this one?
Yeah, I just want to expound upon that, because to me, I feel like the story ends in like media, or starts in media rea, like mid-story, because it's, for me, it's always like, the way I live, I want to have an impact on people. Like, in a small interaction, what will that leave you with? So I think with MD and with Vivek, I'm just going to say them together, I think that what their impact had on people is how we start the story off, how we see impact of how it plays out. So for me, I feel like it's just a sense of being of what they are and how they have this. I'm going in circles again.
It's okay. I was going in circles too. It's fine. It's fine.
No, you're good. I'm following it.
I just think that for me, I feel like the story started in media rea and not just at the end, because we still had to go through the puzzle figuring out how he died and how she is now living on in these people's hearts. So yeah.
I find it like, I also agree that like the character of the mother was the most satisfying story arc. And I think this is this book is a very good example of like content meeting form, where like, because the mother had this very clear story arc, that is traditionally satisfying for us. Whereas Vivek's story arc is non-linear. It is back and forth and backwards in time and in fugue states and in dreamscapes. And like, we get this utterly queer, stylized version of a through line that isn't A to B. I don't think this is like a trans narrative in the way that a lot of people think of trans narratives, going from like one state of being to another, for lack of like better and more nuanced language in a small amount of time. But this is one where like you can have self-discovery and you can exist in a self in so many different ways. And what are those ways? And are they spiraled? And are they in different colors? Like, I think like there's something that's quite lovely about jumping around in the way that we do with his narrative, to kind of like view him as omnipresent. And it presents sexuality and gender in a way that is not defined by terminology. As much as I love terminology and I love the study and exploration of sexuality and gender, Vivek is a character that defies that in a very satisfying way. So I kind of like how the story like the structure of the book parallels that kind of self-discovery and transformation. It's not easy to follow. But then we also do have these other characters like the mother who do have like kind of like a clearer story arc to like cling on to, which is just, I think, I don't know, I'm starting to like this book the more that I talk about it.
I do have a...
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I prepared just 2 questions for you guys, which is we already know he's dead because of the title. Did that have like did you guys have like expectations going into it? Like how did it basically shape your reading, like knowing that he's dead?
Like, so I mean, the very first chapter is just one sentence, like the market bird down like the day
Yeah.
OJI died. And so like for me, I like, and even just like the first chapter, I was expecting, I guess, more of a heavy tone to the book, like the way the first chapter and then the first couple chapters kind of set everything up. Like I was expecting more of a somber book, but then like we kind of jump into flashbacks, and then it's weird because like the grief and the emotion of like Vivek being dead didn't really come up until towards the end again. And so like for most of the book, like we were just kind of like exploring like young Osita and young Vivek. And so I don't know, like I was expecting a darker book, I think, than I got.
I will also say, like, throughout the chapters, like, at least the first half, I think, at the end of it, we kind of get, like, a few, like, lines from whichever perspective we're getting about how they felt after they found out Vivek was dead. So I thought it was weird that towards, like, the other half of the book, that wasn't really an occurring thing anymore. So I guess that's also why, for me, I didn't get that somber feeling anymore. I did at the beginning, but then throughout the book, it was just gone. The whole mentioning of him being dead was gone.
Right. I just think for me, growing up in a Catholic/Muslim household, that the thing of like celebration of life. It's not really a grievance of an ending of thing; it's a starting of something. So I think that's. I do not know this author's religion. I am not saying that in any case whatsoever. I'm just saying, with my eyes as a Christian, I was getting the celebration of life, not over the grievance of death. It's just like when you lose someone, you're also just like, darn, I don't get to have more memories with them, and I can't hold on to a little bit longer. And then this book, I feel like, was a celebration and a revisiting and discovery of Vivek.
Yeah, I feel similarly in the sense that like again, Shebas and Shelves killing it in the comments today.
Sure.
Thinking of Vivek's character being more like how Place is
this.
sometimes a character.
Yeah.
And that is very much like after I came in with the expectation that we were going to get like this grieving novel, which like Lord knows I love a grieving novel. I love sadness. I love despair. It's my cup of tea. But instead, we kind of just get this like plain state of being. Vivek is dead. That's where we are. And there's something that's like kind of like like I keep saying omnipresent. There is something omnipresent about that, like the state of this character, this person in these people's lives no longer being there. And in that way, it is like a setting. So I super love that comment because that is not a way that I thought about it before, but like I totally agree with it.
I mean, there's that moment when Osita and Juju like have sex, and then like
it's
Vivek,
Elizabeth.
or Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Asked me for a doozy. I said,
No, I thought it was Juju.
It was Elizabeth. Juju is the one that Vivek apparently had a crush on, but she was really quiet.
I thought they had sex.
wasn't there a threesome somewhere? I thought there was.
It was Elizabeth. Oh, I also thought that scene was a bit weird.
Oh no, there was 2 sex scenes that Vivek was creeping on.
There was too much. I can't.
The first was in person. No, but the second, because Juju and Osita had sex, and Vivek was a ghost and was there with them, and like put his hand.
Wait, I thought that was Elizabeth. Am I reading things wrong?
No, Elizabeth was the one that Vivek was watching from the window.
Yeah. My thing is,
what he had. Wait, I've been reading that wrong the entire time. This entire time, I thought it was.
I think
Elizabeth.
you're okay, Ace. I don't think it's
my
messed up.
God.
It was Elizabeth. Ace. It was Elizabeth.
Yeah, but then when he went in, right, and watched them.
Same scene, but then in a later scene, Juju.
Yeah. There was 2 sex scenes.
There's way too much sex scenes in this book. I can't recall.
There's a lot of sex scenes. No, but I'm just saying to Matthew's point, because when Juju and Osita have sex, Vivek as a ghost is there with them.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Never mind. Ew. I remember
We saved Ace. Ace is saved.
I remember that. I remember that small paragraph on the next page from Vivek, and it's like, yeah, I'm there in spirit. Let me touch her back and press them together.
When I read that, I was like, can we just rewind this back? Talk to our editor from every Everyone.
I mean, I can accept within the constraints of this world and this book that is a beautiful and romantic thing. Like, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief because these people aren't real people. These are characters, and that is something that would be romantic to these characters. You know, we can't judging them as humans. Gross. Judging them as characters in a fiction novel, I can respect it.
It was just giving me ghost vibes. So when they're like taking the clay pottery. No, take it back.
Tiana.
No.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, since they kind of did present his death as a mystery, did you guys think anyone was like sus throughout the book? Like, you guys think he killed her?
Osita. Like, literally, from the second we started getting his POVs, I was like, okay, he's a major character. Number one, they started having or like he references like I've never let a man touch me like since Vivek, and I was like, I hope we don't go there. I hope we don't go, and then we went there. But then also like just the whole time I was like, he's hiding something. He obviously knows. So then when it was like, as soon as like the mom was like looking for the necklace, I was like, Osita's got the necklace. Like, duh.
It's so obvious, yeah.
But then I was like, you know, I was like, how involved in the death is he? I knew that Osita was the one that brought the body, but I wasn't sure exactly how Vivek died.
Yeah, I don't think I was like suspicious of any particular character. I was more like, how did it happen? Like, what went down?
Yeah.
And like intent was kind of the mystery in my head. Like, was this a hate crime? Was this a crime of passion? Was this an accident? Was like, that's kind of where my brain kept going. Cause I similarly was just like, oh, yep, I get it. I know who it is. But how and what went down in that moment, I was very curious to see. And I was really curious, and I think a lot of mystery is built on whether or not the family and friends would find out how. And I thought there was kind of like a secondary suspense element in like their need for resolution. So that to me was like its own mystery element.
Yeah, because we the reader can know who it was all we can, but like, will the parents ever have that closure and knowing who's responsible for her death?
Yeah, I think that was why they decided to tell Kavita, is because like they wanted to give her that closure.
Can we get to the parents for a second?
They're all
Kavita,
so messy, all of them.
Yeah.
His daddy was out here messing with Mary, and I was like, hold on.
Yeah, I don't think there's like a single marriage in this world that like is successful.
I mean, that only happened like briefly, but then later he went and started messing around with Eloise from the factory.
I know that too. And then Juju's dad with another family. There's just way too much.
Honestly, I have that family dynamic. Like my granddad was a hoe, and so I have 3 grandmas in total. So I have 6 aunties and uncles. I'm just like, God, like, why couldn't you just no?
But like honestly, for like most of the second half of this book, I was more invested in like everybody else who was like not Vivek and Osita.
Honestly, same though. Like
Juju and Elizabeth and like the whole friends. Like she did such those characters were just so well realized. Like, and I will have to say, like, my favorite emotional moment in the book actually was after Vivek gets home after visiting Mary at church, and that scene when Kavita realizes what like she put her child into, and you know, because Vivek came with all these beatings and like, and he was like, you know, did you know when you sent, and you know, Vivek thinks that like his mother willingly sent him to like essentially get like beaten by like these religious groups. To me, that was the most emotionally resonant scene in the novel.
Agreed.
What about you guys? Like, did you guys feel any emotional scenes?
Aside from childhood trauma, no.
No, I thought the ending scene, I think I dog-eared it. When
you dog-eared it? Sorry, let's.
It's my book. I paid for it. I'm gonna do what I want. Thank you.
I think she was saying more the way that you said it.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Like you said, you dog-eared.
Oh, I dog-eared it.
That's the proper Southern slang that we like to say down here.
I thought you were calling me out for like doing what I want to my own books.
Your money, your I don't
Thank
care.
you. Thank you. That's what this next book club's going to be about. It's just talking about that.
Oh God.
It was towards the end. The next day, they went to the village house and stood at the foot of Vivek's grave with its large rectangular gravestone. Kavita couldn't help but imagine for a second Vivek's grandmother reaching out from her grave next to his, through her casket, through the soil, splintering the wood of his to take his hand. And I thought that imagery was beautiful. I also that was the moment that kind of solidified the whole reincarnation plotline to me. And I was just like, oh, that is what this book is about. I get it now. And I think that it was, that was my emotional, well, the same scene as Blake, but then this was my secondary emotional peak moment.
What about you, Ace?
I mean, okay. The thing is, I didn't really feel sad about the book. If anything, I really liked the drama of it all. That's why I enjoyed it so much. I was like, oh, this is happening. But what I thought was really cute was Juju and Elizabeth getting together just because they were making jams together. And then the next chapter made me so upset because Juju just cheated on Elizabeth.
And then she's like, oh, it's just a kiss.
I know.
Didn't you tell me? And then she ignores her, and then
But the jams, the wholesome jams.
Was so cute. That was so cute. I was like, oh, this is such a heartwarming moment in this book that's full of just drama. Like literally chapter after chapter after chapter is just cheating and cheating and cheating. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this book?
And this is why I'm becoming a nun.
This is why?
This book just solidified her.
We'll talk. After this, we'll talk. Oh, yes. Your damn love story was so good. Hey,
Ace,
played him.
Ace, talk a little bit more about what you loved about it, because you've been pretty quiet.
You gave it 5 stars.
Because you guys are talking about what you guys don't like, and I'm like, yeah.
This is your channel, Ace.
I just want to make sure you guys are being able to talk. But anyways, I guess this is my book talk episode now of the death of VIVEK OJI. Anyways, you know me, I love drama, and this book had a lot of drama.
Did you
just ready to talk about the book, full booktube channel moment, ready to go. You know me, I love drama.
If you love drama, you should pick this up. Come on.
It's the Real Housewives.
It's true though. The Niger Wives. What is it? This is their book. This is their book. This is a VIVEK OJI. Oh my God.
Subtitle: VIVEK OJI and the Niger Wives.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Okay, so drama.
Oh my God.
I will call you know me. I will call out a messy bitch a mile away, and these hoes messy. That's all I got to say.
Okay, to be fair, I was a little bit confused at first because I thought VIVEK OJI was in the US and that they just transported his body all the way back to the country. For some reason, that's what was going through my mind at the beginning of the book. But
oh no, I was just saying, in my head when I read books, I'm very US centric. I need to expand my head globally and internationally. I'm just Tiana, you lived in Japan, you can't have this in your head anymore.
This comment is very true. And I love it. I just love it so much. I'm sorry. I know this book has a lot more meaning to it, but I really love the drama.
Fair. Valid. Necessary.
But other than that, I think I really like the perspectives because VIVEK OJI Nemdi is dead. And so we're seeing oh God, my trail, I'm so not well spoken for this. But I think it made sense that we are seeing from other people's perspectives instead of theirs because he's dead, like I said. And so we're trying to figure out why. And then at the end, what Blake?
It just hit me.
What?
What did you say?
Death of VIVEK OJI is VIVEK OJI's death, but also
The death
Vivek
of
OJI died and became Nemdi.
yeah.
Wait, that just hit.
That just hit me right now.
Yeah, now it just hit me right now too.
Oh Jesus!
Right here, this comment. But yeah, I think it makes sense that we don't see now hearing Blake's revelation. I think it makes even more sense that we're not seeing from Vivek OG's perspective because he himself is dead. And then we start seeing more of Nemdi and like getting a bit more of chapters from them. Not really chapters, but like little snippets. And I thought that that was just, I don't know. I don't want to say beautiful because that's romanticizing incest and I don't think that's good. But just the way the story was told was beautiful. Like the writing was very beautiful to me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wish we had more of a idea of like the spiritual, like
yeah. I thought the book itself was still very rich in like culture though, in terms of like not
Right.
even knowing what to do when you know you're
yes,
like you're queer. Like they had no one knows what to do and they only had each other. They could only trust each other, like the
Yeah.
kids and stuff. So I think it was a
Very,
bit
Gen Z versus everybody.
yeah, like I think it was a bit understandable that
it's
the
giving
things
the added without the abuse. Well,
yeah, like the things that happened between them with all the cheating, like in terms of the kids, it happens because that's all they knew from their parents and they have no idea how to deal with being what they know is supposed to be wrong, especially with Osita's mom is literally gonna probably do what she did to Vivek when like that demon exercising thing that freaked me out, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
speaking to like some of the spirituality in the book, I did think like its premise was kind of like lovely and simple while simultaneously being like profound and completely out of my, brainscape. Where like child is reincarnated, but because the death of the person that is being reincarnated is like too close to home to the parents, they give him a misgendered name. Like, and I think like it's ultimately kind of like a karmic tale about like the fallout of, or like what happens when that happens. Like this person, like Vivek couldn't fully realize their reincarnation or themselves or understand themselves as part of that being part of their spirituality because they had had a misgendered name. Which like is kind of simple in its premise, but is also like so complex and I don't understand it. Like, but I do feel like there is like this kind of spiritual element tied to Vivek's coming of age narrative that is built into the book. So I would love to learn more. I guess that's what I'm saying. I find it very interesting.
Yeah, that's a good take because there's like a Japanese like tale, I guess you could say, when people answer the phone in Japanese is like moshi moshi, so they'd say it twice to confuse the demon. So I guess what you're trying to say is here is that like because they had a misgendered name, they couldn't identify themselves as the whole like gotcha. Okay, I'm caught up now.
Yeah. I think it's hard. Like, there's a lot to be said about dead names and gender and all of this stuff in like a academic sense, but like in the spiritual sense, like, can you fully realize yourself using a name that is not meant for you? I think that's a beautiful thing to explore. And I think the novel does really try to dive deep into that.
This is so off topic and I'm so sorry, but I actually, I have my great grandmother's middle name and I was born on her birthday and apparently I sound and look just like her. So who knows? I could be reincarnated.
Wow. And now you're here.
And now I'm here.
Drinking a bottle of wine. Yep. Okay. So I was gonna one last question for you guys, which is that throughout the book they don't really like I said, we don't get perspective from Vivek. So what did you guys figure out in the end? Like what are some of the contexts throughout the book that made you like realize what was going on? And did you guys appreciate those contexts?
In terms of what?
In terms of like writing and perspective, like because we don't get from Vivek's perspective, we kind of just get these small snippets of what people say or like from their perspective, and then we get that reveal at the end. But ultimately, like, we kind of already know what was going on. So how did you guys feel about those small, like,
Well, I think that was like the most well done
Right.
thing in the book, in my opinion. Like all the little clues and details that Amezi put in the narrative, like Vivek refusing to cut their hair. And then also, like, I think there was like a mention of dresses or something like earlier on, like the jewelry when Osita sees him like trying on the jewelry, and like I think the lipstick as well. Like, there's all these like little hints like leading up to learning that Vivek is Nemdi. You know, like it's not like it comes out of nowhere. It's like this breadcrumb of like clues throughout the entire book that just like is building up this person as like non-binary who they are, you know.
I really found it interesting that a lot of those signifiers in the text were physical, like plaiting of the hair, that being like a feminine thing, lipstick being like the most feminine thing. You know, like there are these like very, because it came from so many other people's perspectives, their perspective on gender was very much based in artifice, in presentation, which a lot of, that's kind of like an inclination for a lot of straight people to sort of like start understanding gender identity or sexuality outside of their own. It's in the physical. It's what you can see. It's optics. So I thought that that was very cleverly done, because the moments for Vivek themselves were more tender, more nuanced, more personal. But for everyone else, it was plaiting hair, lipstick, you know, like presentation. So yeah, I thought that was really sharp. I thought that was really well executed in the book.
okay, so with the talks of presentation during Ebenezer's chapter, did you guys figure out that that was Vivek?
Yeah, I thought that was like, I don't know. Well, as soon as like
Blake was not fooled by this book.
I was just like, well, it was like it's the same night, the same thing. Like
I didn't realize it was the same night, Loki.
I thought, well, I mean, I thought like, you know, because that was before like we're cemented in the reveal that Vivek is Nemdi, but like there's so many hints and like worries that like people are going to mistake him for being a woman when he goes outside, like because of his long hair. Like I think somebody, I don't know, like people were like saying it multiple times throughout the book, even before then, that they were worried about Vivek, that people would see him as like a she. And so then when Ebenezer just like sees Vivek as a she and just like as a woman and like doesn't think twice about it, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. And then later I was like, oh, well, Vivek is Nemdi. That makes perfect sense.
So I guess I did predict this book this time again. If that's what we're getting on, because I feel like it's like when we have this, like when you introduce a new suspect, point blank, that's where I'm going to, and we have this like unknown, you know, woman, and we have these. So I guess I did get four. Give me a book I can't guess.
I mean, it took you a while, so.
Wow.
So I guess it counts.
Hopefully our next book, I won't see the ending coming.
I'm so excited.
I think that's a great transition. Good job.
Yeah, here. So, join us.
God, love it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna wrap up this discussion. Well, I mean, we still have 7 minutes. It doesn't matter. But make sure to tune in to next month.
Yes.
Our next month's book is The Wolf of Oroñaro. Okay, it's Blake's month.
How can I get it to Blake? It keeps going backwards. There it is.
Hello.
Wait.
And yeah, so it's going to be on my channel, and we're actually going to have so on Wednesday we're having you know, our live show as normal, but then that following Sunday, probably, we haven't locked down, but like it's pretty sure, we're going to have an interview with the author K.S. Veloso, where we're going to chat about it and talk about it. And I am going to be binging the whole trilogy this month, so I don't know if everybody else is going to do that, but like I'm going to. So.
I just might.
I'm so excited for this pick, just because it is like not in any way something I would have ever picked up on my own. So I feel like we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Well, also the last book in the trilogy comes out like in like a couple days. It comes out next week, like next Tuesday.
Perfect. Okay, so what are our final thoughts for the death of Vivek OJI?
Ace, I think you should go.
Okay, I shall go first. drama. That's all I have to say.
Come on, you
I can't. I'm out. I quit. I'm done.
wait. Okay, but honestly, I really loved this book because I thought it had such a strong family theme too. Because even though obviously the families aren't exactly the best, but it was so realistic, and like I said at the beginning, like it felt so uncomfortable peering into this book, and it felt like I was actually looking into someone's like life, and not through, it wasn't even through him, and it was like just through these people that he met. And it's insane like I don't want to try and butcher the name, but the author did such a great job writing this book. And yeah, and that's what I love the most about this book. And it did have very strong themes. So those are my final thoughts. Still a 5 out of 5. Go ahead, Matthew.
I'll go. I really liked fighting with Blake about this book tonight.
We weren't fighting, okay?
We weren't fighting.
Okay,
it's a huge comment down below who you thought won. No,
Matthew.
Godzilla versus Kong, but Blake versus Matthew.
No, but like I think it just goes to show that there is so much depth to this work. Like I don't think Akwaeke Emezi wrote this book accidentally in this way. Like this is one that I think warrants the discussion that we have put into it. And I think that I am starting to like feel warm and fuzzy about it a little bit more. So like I can see my 3-star moving to a 4-star with time. But still a very, very solid read. I recommend this to so many people because I do feel like it's unlike a lot of books that are out there right now. And I don't think a lot of people have read anything like this before. And it should be added to your repertoire for reading.
Okay, Blake.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, honey.
It's still a 2 stars. I can appreciate this book, and like that's the thing. It's like 2 stars. Okay. So for me, like my rating scale is a 3 stars. I liked it. 4 stars. I really liked it. 5 stars. I loved it. 2 stars is I didn't really care for it, and a 1 stars is I hated it. So just because I didn't really care for this book doesn't mean I can't appreciate this book. So I do appreciate things in it, although I did despise some of the things inside of it. I think as a whole, I can recognize why so many people love it. I thought the author, Akwaeke Emezi, their language and their use of writing was like really interesting. And I would definitely check out more of their books going forward. Because I think, this is only like, I think they only wrote Freshwater before this, or like, and I know they have the middle grade pet. So yeah, I would check out more of their stuff just because like, I think the themes brought up were really interesting. I just would like to see them done in like a different way. So yeah, that's that. I think that's where I'm going to end my little thoughts about the book. I personally wouldn't recommend it, but if you really want to, you can check it out.
If you want drama, read it. If you want real drama, if you want that serious real drama, if you want that teleserie shit, read this.
Ace, you're super, right?
What?
You're
Tiana, take us home. Take us home, Tiana.
Yeah, go.
God damn. Yes, this was our April book pick of the month. I gave it a solid 3 stars. It's a very real book from someone who has had to deal with an actual exorcism. I can attest to that. Like it was very shocking for me. I think that the metamorphosis, I think I'm using that word right, for Vivek into Nimdi was very powerful, and just very. I don't want to say heartwarming, but like very warm to some extent. Again, as Blake said, there's some things that I just can't stand by with the incest.
Same though.
And then the very realism of having generational curses of seeing parents cheat and family members cheat, and then just doing that in your day-to-day life as you don't know anything other outside of that. So yes, thank you for joining us. We hope you had a great time.
Oh my god. Okay, well that wraps up this live show. I hope y'all enjoyed the chaos that ensued. And Matthew versus Blake, stay tuned for part 2 with a rematch for next month. The Wolf of Orinyar.
I hope we don't fight. I
Oh.
hope this book I am so excited for. You guys have no idea. Like it's the book one of Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. Hello. I'm so hyped.
I had a
Alright.
job for this. I'm so excited for pictures. I'm so excited.
You have a
Oh
what?
my gosh.
I'm
I
having a job.
need to get a sword.
Yes. I
Okay.
want you rings.
I need to dress like the Darkling apparently, so I can get this outfit and then a sword. There you go.
All
Okay,
right.
well, thank you guys for coming.
Putting Shadow and Bone on Netflix.
Watch Shadow and Bone on Netflix. Bye.
Bye.